In 2025, airport security looks familiar, but the rules shaping it are shifting faster than ever. Liquids are still being pulled from bags, shoe removal has finally ended, and Real ID is now non-negotiable. Travelers who don't adapt risk delays, fines, or even missed flights. Why liquids still get seized? Most passengers assume the liquids crackdown would vanish by now. After all, Europe and the UK began lifting restrictions in 2024. But in US airports, the 311 rule still dominates. Bottles under 3.4 ounces, packed in a quart-sized bag, one bag per traveler. Why hasn't it gone away? Because not every US airport checkpoint has the upgraded CT computed tomography scanners required to replace the old system. Standard X-rays can't distinguish between a bottle of water and a liquid explosive. CT scanners, however, generate 3D images, letting officers rotate, slice, and analyze the contents instantly. Until every terminal nationwide has CT coverage, TSA insists on keeping liquids limited. That means your lotion, sunscreen, or cold medicine may still be flagged and tossed in 2025. How the 2025 crackdown looks in practice. What changed this year is consistency. TSA officers have been instructed to enforce liquid rules without exceptions, even when it frustrates travelers. Parents with oversized baby formula bottles, passengers with oversized toiletries, or tourists carrying duty-free liquor without receipts have reported losing items on the spot. Even tiny slip-ups are enough to trigger confiscations in 2025. Unlabeled travel bottles, mixing liquids with electronics, or hurriedly repacking items at the checkpoint can all raise red flags. Officers now operate under strict zero-tolerance orders, leaving almost no room for sympathy. Social media is filled with posts of travelers stunned when liquids cleared in London got confiscated back in New York. TSA's official response? Until scanners are everywhere, rules stay everywhere. That uneven rollout is why travelers must pack as if the liquids rule is still fully alive, no matter which airport they start from. The shoe rule finally dies. If liquids are stuck in limbo, at least one major burden disappeared this summer. As of July 8, 2025, TSA no longer requires passengers to remove shoes during screening. This policy dated back to 2001, when the infamous shoe bomber hid explosives in his footwear. For 2 decades, Americans shuffled barefoot across dirty airport floors while other countries moved on. Now, upgraded scanners capable of detecting shoe-based explosives ended that ritual nationwide. It's more than symbolic. TSA estimates the change will save millions of screening hours annually, speeding up lines and sparing travelers the indignity of untying laces at the checkpoint. For seniors, families with children, and people with disabilities, the relief is enormous. The deadline that finally stuck. The other big shift in 2025 is identification. As of May 7, 2025, Real ID is mandatory for all domestic flights. That means your standard driver's license without the compliance star no longer works. Acceptable alternatives include a Real ID driver's license, a U.S. passport, a military ID, or another federally approved card. Unlike previous delays, this year the deadline was firm. TSA reports that tens of thousands of passengers were turned away in May and June for showing up with outdated IDs. No exceptions, no grace period. Travelers caught off guard weren't just inconvenienced. They missed weddings, business trips, and family emergencies. Airlines don't issue refunds if you're denied at security for lack of valid ID. Despite months of reminders, many travelers ignored the deadline. Airlines and airports launched major awareness campaigns in early 2025, and some states even rushed out temporary DMV kiosks offering Real ID upgrades. Still, for thousands, the help arrived too late. Why TSA isn't relaxing? Yet the obvious question, if Europe can end the liquids rule, why can't the US? TSA officials point to 3 issues. Scale. The US has far more airports and passenger volume than the UK or EU. Funding. Installing CT scanners nationwide costs billions, and Congress has only partially funded the rollout. Training. Each new machine requires officers to be retrained, slowing the pace of adoption. That's why the liquids rule, despite being outdated, continues for most travelers. TSA argues that phasing it out prematurely would create loopholes and inconsistencies criminals could exploit. The Traveler's Playbook for 2025. Navigating these rules doesn't have to mean stress. Smart travelers are adapting by building a personal checklist. Liquids. Still follow the 311 rule unless you know your airport has CT scanners. Never assume. Shoes. No removal required, but keep them light. You'll walk miles inside airports. IDs. Carry real ID or a passport. Double check before you leave home. Medical liquids. Declare them clearly at security. Ask for a visual inspection if you don't want them x-rayed. Duty-free items. Keep receipts handy. Without proof of purchase, bottles risk being seized on connection flights. TSA PreCheck in 2025. For those tired of juggling rules, TSA PreCheck remains the fastest path through security. Members often access lanes equipped with CT scanners first, meaning fewer liquid hassles. PreCheck also exempts travelers from shoe and laptop removal, and now pairs seamlessly with the new biometric ID systems rolling out in major airports. The program isn't free. It costs $78 for 5 years, but for frequent flyers, the time saved easily outweighs the price. In 2025, PreCheck enrollment has surged, with TSA reporting record signups this summer. The global context, American travelers can't ignore how other countries are moving ahead. UK lifted the 100 milliliter limit at multiple airports in 2024. Travelers now carry full-size toiletries through security. EU, following suit, phasing out restrictions in airports with CT scanners installed. Asia and Middle East, mixed rules. Some hubs like Singapore are adopting advanced scanners, while others still enforce strict limits. The contrast is frustrating. A traveler may breeze through Paris with a liter of water, then fly into Miami and have it confiscated. The inconsistency is one of the top complaints in 2025. Where TSA wants to go. Despite frustrations, TSA insists the long-term vision is clear. Seamless checkpoints. Imagine walking through a portal where facial recognition verifies your ID, CT scanners clear your bag without unpacking, and you're done in seconds. No shoes off, no liquid baggies, no laptops out. That system is already being piloted at a handful of U.S. airports. The agency's timeline? Officials suggest a full nationwide transition by 2028 to 2030, depending on funding and politics. For now, the system is stuck halfway between the old and the new. Traveler stories in 2025 stories shared online show just how uneven the experience is. A family flying from Boston to London carried large juice bottles with no problem. On the return trip, JFK confiscated them immediately. A grandmother traveling with insulin reported smooth passage in Chicago thanks to PreCheck, but was forced to argue for her medication in Dallas. One frequent flyer joked that TSA should hand out dice at the gate, roll a 6, and keep your water bottle. These accounts highlight the current reality. Travelers never know what to expect. On social platforms like Reddit and TikTok, these encounters have become viral content. Posts showing confiscated items or frustrated passengers rack up millions of views, forcing TSA to issue clarifications or policy reminders within hours to manage the backlash. Flying in 2025 is a mix of progress and frustration. Shoes are finally staying on. IDs are stricter than ever. Liquids remain in limbo, with CT scanners bringing hope but not universal relief. The smartest travelers are those who prepare for both old and new rules, packing light, carrying the right documents, and staying flexible. Because until every airport catches up, the safest assumption is simple. If it's bigger than 3.4 ounces, expect it to get flagged. Travel is evolving, but unevenly. Don't be the person stuck at security because you assumed rules changed everywhere. Pack smart, check official updates, and be ready for surprises. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit like, share it with your fellow travelers, and subscribe for more hidden updates airlines don't advertise. Safe travels, and may your next flight be hassle-free.